So today we're going to do a standard lip wax. It's a little bit more, I want to say, than standard because we're doing it here at the Milagro Spa. So it's definitely more professional setting, and it's definitely what you want to look for when you go and get a wax, especially one on your face. So we have our client here, and we've draped her with a cape to make sure that her clothes don't get destroyed, because waxing can be a little bit messy, and you should expect to, be covered for when you're waxed. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, grab a stick, and we like to use a brand new stick for our client, and that's definitely very important to maintain sanitation. So just going to use a little bit of what we use here. It's a soy wax, so it's very gentle on the face, and it doesn't adhere to the skin, so you don't have to worry about any pulling or burning. So I'm just going to roll a little bit onto her face, and we're going to do one side at a time. So typical time for a lip wax, it's probably about a 5 to 10 minute appointment. Closer to 5 usually. It doesn't take very long to achieve a clean lip. So just make sure you set enough time to wait for your appointment. You come in maybe a little bit early, and you might be able to get in early. And we're just going to hold the skin nice and tight. This prevents, like I said, any pain for the client. And we're just going to pull nice and clean. So you want to make sure that you also expect to maybe be tweezed a little bit. I know a lot of people get waxed because they want to avoid their own tweezing or tweezing itself. But you might have 1 hair or 2 hairs left over after waxing, and that's completely typical. But she has one right here, so I'm just going to get that. And this just allows for a cleaner look. So we're going to roll right across the middle on the other side of her lip, within the direction of growth. And then we'll be done. One thing to expect, and a great thing to do after you have your waxing done, is to book your appointment right then and there to return. By doing that, you definitely aren't going to forget, and you're not going to get what I call rear view mirror scare, which is when you're driving one day and you see that you have a mustache and it's time to come for a wax, and then it's hard to get an appointment. So by booking your appointment that day, probably for about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe I like to say 2 or 3, because you don't want to have a few strays. This way you're ensuring that you're maintaining, and you don't have to start from where you've left off. You can kind of get some progress. Because waxing, actually, the more you do it, the less hair you grow. So if you keep up with it, then it can be a lot more worth it for you. So again, a couple tweezes. And she's almost done. We're just going to finish her off with a little bit of a wax remover so she doesn't go home sticky and her nose doesn't stick to her lip at any point during talking. So I'm going to do that right now. And we use a nice calming oil with a little bit of chamomile in it to help prevent anti-inflammation. So that's another thing that you might not get when if you go anywhere that's a little bit unprofessional. You want to make sure that people are using high quality products with really good ingredients that benefit you. So again, I like to be really gentle. Like I said, we do have 10 minutes for this appointment, and I think we've only used up about 2 or 3 right now. So you have to keep in mind that you did just pull your client's hair out, so you want to be really gentle on where you're applying your wax remover. Feel clean? All right, good.
Very good.
All right, and another thing we follow off with is a little bit of a treatment cream. So this gives you a little bit more time between waxing, penetrates down into your follicle, kind of breaks up any leftover bulb you might have left. So it gives you a couple days, maybe even a week between your waxing that you may not have had before. So that's another thing that you might not get in an unprofessional setting. A lot of times people use things like baby oil that can clog the pores and cause breakouts after waxing. So it's important you pay attention to what type of products your technician is using. So I'm just going to do a little bit on my clean hand, take another one of my aesthetic wipes, and we're going to put this stuff on for you. Now, one of the ingredients in our after wax cream is lidocaine. Can be irritating to some clients, so you definitely want to make sure that people are asking you the right questions, whether or not you're allergic to certain things, what type of things you were doing before your waxing, maybe a peel or tanning can actually hinder the effect of your wax. So it's important that you pay attention and communicate with your technician to prevent any burns or any even skin shedding after waxing. So you are fine and healthy, not even that red.
Thank
So
you. It feels very fresh.
good. So mustache gone.